looks like the Idaho legislature will run longer than expected.
That's because lawmakers have yet to set the K-12 school budget. The discussion over pay raises for teachers is just one of the many topics in tonight's Making the Grade with Idaho Education News reporter Kevin Richard. Kevin, thanks for coming back for Making the Grade. Teacher salaries, where do we stand? The legislature only has another couple of weeks, supposedly. They haven't set the K-12 budget. Are teachers going to get a bump in pay?
Well, I mean, this is the big issue standing in the way of setting a K-12 budget and adjourning the session. We saw a new career ladder bill come out this morning. There was only about 15 minutes worth of an introductory hearing on it today. And that's the way it usually is. They'd come back and do more of a hearing. We're still trying to sort out the differences and the details behind it, and we'll see kind of how this plays with education groups and with legislators. Initial reaction from the Idaho Education Association is it's not perfect, but it's a beginning step. So we'll see how it plays out now in the next few days.
Is it still looking at a bump in pay for minimum rookie teachers and then over the next 5 years doing more pay?
Yeah, it's still basically the same framework. You're trying to bump up pay for beginning teachers and veteran teachers, and you're doing it over a 5-year period.
All right, so stay tuned because that's going to have to happen real quickly.
Yes.
Department of Administration Director Teresa Luna submitted her resignation. She is stepping down at the end of this legislative session. Of course, she's been one of the key players in the absolute debacle over the Idaho Education Network, the internet service to schools. Why did this happen now?
Well, there's never a dull moment on this story, it seems. It just kind of goes on and on and on. The timing is really interesting. I mean, Teresa Luna and the administration department have been under fire on this project for years. And the timing is interesting because we've come to a point where two things are happening. The legislature has very forcefully taken this project away and taken the authority for funding and overseeing broadband, and they've moved it into Sherry Ibarra's department.
In the Department of Education.
Department of Education, exactly. Now that, they say, is a short-term move because the plan is still to write a long-term contract and have a statewide system that would be under the auspices of some state agency. Might still be the Department of Administration under a new director. So the timing is very interesting in terms of that.
Was she asked to resign? What's the scuttlebutt?
Well, nobody's really saying at this point. Governor Otter's statement was pretty short. It was complimentary of the work she had done. But like I say, she has been at the focal point of a very messy situation for this administration for quite a long time.
One of the topics that came up today at the State House, which had some real emotion to it, was the bullying bill. Tell us what happened today with that.
Well, it was very emotional. It was about 2 hours worth of testimony from students and parents. And at the end of it, lawmakers voted to send this anti-bullying bill to the House floor with the recommendation that it passed. Late in the session, so this bill would still have to pass the House and would have to make its way through the Senate. But very powerful hearing this morning. We have full coverage of it, including video, so you might want to check it out.
One last topic I want to get your thoughts on. You've been writing about some graduation rates. Are we doing better in the Gem State when it comes to making sure that our high schoolers are graduating?
You know, it's really hard to tell. The new numbers came out today, and the problem is that the numbers are calculated differently than they've been in the past years, and it really kind of comes down to where do you place students who have gotten a GED or students who have gotten an alternative diploma. How do you calculate them? So that skews the numbers. The bottom line figure, 77% of kids in the class of 2014 got their diploma, conventional high school diploma, within 4 years. Then you've got probably another 10% of that class of 14 who either got a GED or an alternative diploma or were working towards it. So about 87% of kids were either holding a diploma or were on their way to getting one. And you've got to remember, this has been one of those numbers that the state has always pointed to a pretty high graduation rate, high school graduation rate, as a positive. Now you have these really low college go-on rates and college completion rates, but the high school diploma, the high school graduation rate has always been seen as a positive. So that's where the numbers are. Hard to draw too many comparisons, though.
Trying to get them to go on is the problem there.
That's been the issue.
You can read about all of these stories and, of course, much more on idahoednews.org. Kevin, thanks for being here for Making the Grade.
Thank you.